I'm Connie Moser, and I would like to welcome you to another edition of Nights at the Round Table, sponsored by PWC News.us and our producer, Bill Golden. And my guest today is Earnie Porta. Ernie, thank you so much for coming.
Hi, Connie. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Ernie Porta is the mayor of Occoquan and has been since 2006. And so what are we going to talk about today, Ernie?
Well, pretty much anything that you would like to talk about, Connie. I'm always game, of course, to talk about things going on in the town of Occoquan. So if you have some time to chat about that a little bit, I'd be more than happy to do that.
All right.
And the craft show is particularly important to the town of Occoquan because really the net proceeds from those shows are our only real source of funding for capital projects. So we don't typically pay for our capital projects out of our direct tax base. We basically use the net proceeds from the craft show to build up reserves that we use for capital projects and special initiatives. So it's a very important thing for the town. And normally there are a lot of great things that you can buy there. So we hope people certainly will come down for that.
What kind of capital projects do you do with those funds?
That's a good question. Typically, a lot of the stuff that we have to take care of are town road type things. So, for example, while VDOT handles a lot of the roads in town, there are a number of roads that are owned by the town, and the paving and the curb and gutter and things like that all have to be maintained by the town. Years ago, as some of your viewers probably know, the town installed brick sidewalks and gas lamps. All those things actually have to be maintained by us. Those are not things that VDOT, even though they're on VDOT roads, those are not the sort of things that VDOT maintains, so we have to do those. Now, it's also these reserve funds that actually enabled us to do something which I think you're a fan of and you heard about, which is to make this purchase offer on 17 acres off of Tanyard Hill Road and Old Bridge Road. We hope that that deal is going to close sometime in June. Everything looks good on it, so we expect that to come to fruition finally in June. And that will result in the town having 17.7 roughly acres of wilderness land, forested land, available for passive recreation. It will be under a conservation easement, so it will be preserved from development essentially in perpetuity. And we were actually able to do that. We were able to make the offer on that because over time we've tried to be responsible fiscal stewards, build up our reserves for capital projects, special initiatives, and opportunities like this that come up infrequently.
Will that parcel on Tanyard Hill, will that be a trail connected?
So we hope ultimately, yes, that we hope ultimately to build a trail connection there. And a trail, when I say a trail connection, I mean a trail connection to that great new trail system that LRPRA and the county have agreed to install between the McCourt building and the town of Occoquan. Now, there are some additional things that need to happen for that trail network to come to fruition. We're going to need the permission of an adjoining property owner to travel across their land to link the two parcels, meaning the parcel that the town has and the LRPRA parcel. A trail network like that is also complicates some of the aspects of the conservation easement that would be associated with the property. Without going into too much detail, when the property was rezoned for development a few years ago by the county over the town's objection, as you know, there were a number of proffers that were associated with that. Some of those proffers could actually be triggered by trail construction. So those things would need to be addressed before we could put the trail system in, and we would be we have plans in place to at the appropriate time move forward and take care of that sort of stuff. But even if we could never put a trail on there, which I don't think is likely, I think we'll be able to do that ultimately. Even if we never could, the town views it as a real win-win for everybody because we've essentially preserved this area for passive recreational use of one form or another, preserved it from development along a beautiful entranceway into town, which is Tanyard Hill Road. And any development, frankly, there was putting aside any watershed concern issues people might have, really would have caused additional traffic problems for the town and for others. So we really feel pretty good about it.
I think when that was originally slated for development, there were some road improvements that were going to be made.
Right.
Are they still going to be?
No, those road improvements wouldn't be made. And let me put some of those road improvements into perspective. Those road improvements included an improvement in the intersection, which is something, generally speaking, that people would generally be in favor of. But even with those improvements, it was still going to be sort of in the D category of grade D category, or worse in some people's view, even with those improvements. So it wasn't as if this was taking things up into an area that a level of service that people were going to think was fantastic. Would have been some improvements in that intersection, however, that I think people generally would have liked. But some of the other improvements involved straightening out Tanyard Hill Road. And that was actually something that most of the people in town were against, because the only traffic calming issue, the only traffic calming tool we have there right now are those curves on that road. So when as you, I'm sure you're aware, when you straighten roads out, you increase speed. We already have speed issues there on Tanyard Hill Road.
You have cut through there too, right?
Well, and that is actually the big issue. And even a day like today, and this is nothing against the commuters that actually cut through, you understand why they do it. Without improvements at the intersection of Old Bridge Road and Route 123, it's not going to matter. People are going to cut through town no matter what. And during the afternoon rush hours in particular, it's really bad because there's a lot of speeding, there's a lot of stop sign running and that sort of thing. And for those people who live on that edge of town where you exit on Tanyard Hill Road, it's particularly difficult for them because there's a lot of fast traffic moving there. And unfortunately, the way the regulations work that VDOT would apply to a situation like this, we're really already stretching it. VDOT's already really stretching their own regs by having even the little rumble strips that they have there now. So we're not able to do anything with speed bumps or anything else. So it ends up becoming an enforcement issue, and we really don't have the resources in a small town like Occoquan to sit a police officer up there every afternoon for rush hours.
How many officers do you have?
We have one full-time officer. We have some auxiliaries that we bring on, but it's one full-time officer.
Okay, what else is new in Occoquan?
Okay, well, I do want to mention, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about this later, that we've got some events coming up in addition to the craft show. We have, for example, on June 14th, that big Duck Splash event that we do every year. And this actually raises money for a couple of groups, the Prince William Trails and Streams Coalition, as well as the Occoquan-Woodbridge-Neabsco Optimists Club, of which we are both members.
Shameless plug.
Right, shameless plug. This is a great family-friendly event, though. We drop thousands of rubber ducks from a bridge in Occoquan, and we choose the bridge based on our best guess at about 10 in the morning as to what the wind is going to be like at 12:30. Because we can measure the tides and currents and all that stuff, but quite frankly, if there hasn't been a lot of rain, everything on the Occoquan River is really determined by where the wind is coming from. So we make a call about which bridge we're going to drop it from, and then at 12:30 we drop several thousand numbered rubber ducks, and they race, and I use that term very loosely because sometimes they just sit there, but hopefully they race to a finish line that we've established. We keep pulling out ducks, the numbered rubber ducks, until we have 10 winners, and by 10 winners I mean people who have purchased ducks with one of those numbers. And when I say purchase ducks, you can buy tickets where you adopt a duck for $5 and you get a unique number for a duck.
And you name them, right?
You can name them if you would like, although a lot of people name them Ducky. So you end up, if you end up calling out, and now the winner, first prize is Ducky, there's 30 people who think they won. So we tend to yell out the numbers instead of the names. But the first prize is $500, and second through fifth is $100, and then sixth through 10th is $20. And we keep pulling ducks out until all the prizes have been taken. So it's a great family-friendly event. We have people out there in canoes and kayaks to make sure that none of these ducks escape. It's a very environmentally friendly approach to things. So that's really a lot of fun.
So your term is coming to an end.
Right.
Are you feeling kind of great about that, or?
Yeah, I mean it's
a little mixed.
Yeah, a little melancholy about it.
Did you accomplish everything you set out to do?
Yeah, not everything, because there are a lot of things still left to be done. I would have liked to have seen some additional improvements on the waterfront, for example, but these are sort of longer term projects. I think I've been able to put in a lot of things in place in town that are going to serve the town well over the long term. I'm excited you know about the bus service thing that I do. I plan to continue to do that. Can I put in a shameless plug for that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So as you know, this is a company you actually asked me about when we've talked before. It's a company called the Occoquan Transportation Company that I set up. And it started regular operations in the middle of October of last year. And what I do is I bring people over from the auto train station, the Lorton Auto Train Station, into the town of Occoquan. People can load their cars there as early as 11:30 to get on the auto train, but they can't board the train until at the earliest 2:30. So they're sitting around the station for a little while. So I go over there, and typically around 12:30 and 1 o'clock, and for $5 round trip, people can hop on this shuttle of mine, and I give them a little tour of Occoquan and drop them off so they can eat and shop there. And since mid-October, when I started it, I've had more than 1,600 passengers. I keep track of how many are first-time visitors and whether they've eaten or shopped in Occoquan while they're there, and I ask them for informal feedback about their experiences. So I've had more than 1,600 people, and more than
Wow.
1,500 of those have been first-time visitors to Occoquan. So they overwhelmingly have been positive about the service. I also do a stop at the Workhouse Arts Center in Fairfax. A lot of people have not gotten off there, but some people do enjoy going there. But it's been a really great thing. I think it's been a win-win. It's been covering its operating costs, gradually recovering the capital investment, and it's getting people into Occoquan who I'm confident are going to be coming back later. So that's one of the things I'm actually really proud of. And it's a private business, so I'm going to continue doing that after my mayor's term expires. But I think the town is, it's certainly in a sound financial footing. I can tell you I'm a big fan of my vice mayor, who is now going to be the mayor, who won election as mayor. Her name is Liz Quist. I think she's really great, so she's going to do a great job for the town. Also, we hired a new town manager. Her name is Kirsten Barr. She's fantastic. She's been there, I guess, a little over a month now, and she's really great. And the combination of her and Liz working together with the new council, I think, is going to be a great combination. So I'm really optimistic about Occoquan's future, and I'm excited about the idea of watching it happen.
Well, I think I can speak for everybody in Occoquan and around when I tell you that I don't think anyone could have done as much for that town as you did.
No, thank you, Connie.
And we're going to miss you.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thanks to all of you for joining us. I hope you'll come back again and see our next edition of Nights at the Round Table.